Let's bring in One Nation Leader Pauline Hanson for more on this now. Senator, good to see you as always. Thank you very much for joining us. We now have the US asking legitimate questions about what role its allies would play in any potential conflict with Taiwan. The Prime Minister can't say. The US wants us to lift defence spending, and on top of that, we could now pay more for submarines under AUKUS, and yet we've got the Prime Minister flapping about in China. What message is Labor sending to the US right now?
Basically saying we're not interested in what you have to say and we'll do our own thing, and we're going to have a say in where our future lies. I think it's a big mistake on Anthony Albanese and the Labor Party. America has every right to ask where are they going to go with Taiwan. If China does invade Taiwan, where does that leave us? They have every right to ask that. Considering the AUKUS agreement and considering America is thinking about sending us some of their subs, considering that, you know, the rest of the world would love them, how would they use it? How would this government use it? In the best interest of the deal that we have with America and our ally, an agreement with them? He's not prepared to even say that. As I've said constantly all the time, I don't trust this government. Albanese is a socialist, have no doubt about it. And I've read the white paper, the Labor white paper was about 15, 20 years ago, and I was shocked by it. It's basically opening up our borders to Asia, and that we would invite them down here in droves. They wouldn't have to get visas to actually come down to this country, and that they were encouraging Australians to learn to speak Asian languages. Now, if that's Labor's future for Australia, I'm in fear of that, because I don't want it. I'll be upfront and honest. I don't want it. I don't want us to be Asianised, and I've always said that from 1996 in my first maiden speech to Parliament. So it really concerns me where his head is at. He has an obligation on national security to tell the people what he thinks. We've seen so many changes of Prime Ministers in this country, especially from Rudd, Gillard, Rudd, Tony Abbott, then we had Turnbull, then we had Morrison. And to leave this in the hands of a Prime Minister solely at his whim, I think is a big mistake. I think when it comes to something like this defence, I think the two major political parties should have a long-term goal and objective of where we lie as a nation and where we will stand on these issues. We've seen a changeover and turnover of too many Prime Ministers in this country. I would like to see a united front that would give us a long-term vision for this country and security to the people.
So, Senator, we've got Anthony Albanese in China at the moment. He's spruiking tourism and trade, while the US alliance seems to be at an all-time low. As I said earlier, Anthony Albanese's got a 6-day tour of China, can't organise a phone call with the United States. The optics are not good, are they?
No, they're not at all good. And that's what we said. I think he saw Zelensky get a dressing down by Trump, and he thought, I'm not going to go through that. I will actually not get in touch. I won't have a visit with him. And, you know, it is a matter of just picking up the phone. I travelled with him, and I've said this repeatedly, I travelled with Albanese overseas. I saw his interaction with leaders over there, and it's not good. He has not got leadership qualities about him to interact with these people. He might have improved over the years, but my impression of him was not very high at all. So it does concern me greatly, and he's over there and he's, you know, trade deals that he's doing with China. You know, the fact is he's boosting them. This is a country who has carbon emissions over 30%, and yet he's destroying, decarbonising Australia and deindustrialising us as a nation. He's more concerned about them having trade with us than what he is looking after our own industries and manufacturing here in Australia. So he's not, you know, working for us.
I've got to ask you, Senator, you just said that you were not impressed with Anthony Albanese's interactions with other leaders. Can you expand on that? What have you seen that made you feel so doubtful about his ability to relate to other world leaders?
Well, it wasn't the world leaders, it was the leaders in the nation, the governors in India, and that's where he travelled all across India. I just didn't feel that he interacted with them. I think he was very poor in his conversation, the questions, even his answers to their questions. And actually, I will tell you this, Milton Dick was on that delegation with me and a couple of other members of Parliament, and actually Milton Dick impressed me far more than what Anthony Albanese did. And I've told him, I said, you should have been Prime Minister, not Anthony Albanese.
Yeah, it's fascinating to hear perspectives from people about what our own Prime Minister is actually like on the international stage. So there you go. Senator, I want to ask you about Treasurer Jim Chalmers. He has outlined the agenda for the upcoming economic reform roundtable. Here he was on Sky News this morning.
I mean, I don't mind what you call it. I think the productivity challenge is central to our economic reform efforts. It already is, but we're looking to build consensus on the next steps in that agenda. And so I think productivity and economic reform are inseparable. I said at the press club, and the Prime Minister said at the press club, that this is all about building consensus, building on the progress that we've made, building on our substantial agenda. Productivity will be the major focus, but it won't be the only focus.
Senator, surely this roundtable is redundant. Productivity is low. The RBA this week left rates on hold because it is not satisfied that inflation is under control, despite Labor telling us it's slayed the inflation dragon. What is the point of this talkfest?
Well, it's trying to appease the Australian public. Oh, look, we're trying to do something about this, so we're going to draw all these people in, the CEOs of these big companies. But it's their productivity in the decline that we are seeing now, and we've lost a lot of industries and manufacturing in Australia, and we're going to lose a lot more. We've seen 30,000 small businesses go under. It's due to the carbon credits, or not carbon credits, but the net zero, that we're headed down that path. It's industrial relations policies that's actually destroying people, putting on more workers. All these extra days that people have a year, take more time off. Now we'll be down to about, it won't be long before we're going to be having 30 or 35 days, hours a week in work, and then that's going to be more productivity gone. You got members of the bureaucrats who are working from home. That's a loss in productivity. Of the farming sector, loss of productivity. So it's through the government policies that we've seen loss of productivity in this country. I think it's just a talk fest. I don't think anything will come out of it. And he talks about economic stability of the country. They have actually driven up the debt in this country, and it's going to be 1.2 billion within the next year. Trillion, I should say, not billion, 1.2 trillion in debt in the next year to 2 years.
Yeah, for a second you excited us all, Senator, when you said billion. We thought, hey, we're doing okay, but no, it's trillion, unfortunately.
It's wishful thinking, yes, it's wishful thinking.
If only you'd been right.
But we're in hell of a mess.
Senator Pauline Hanson, thanks for joining us tonight. It's always a delight.